This project has been made possible through giftings from the Lloyd and Mabel Johnson Foundation. Cornerstone enjoys a collaboration with Michigan State University's Department of Music Education through grants and giftings from Dorothy Withrow. And this presentation brought to you by FCI, Foundation for Community Inspiration.
It is the oddest journey, as you say, that I would end up teaching at Cornerstone and developing a program and guiding it through and maintaining it. The thing I said I would never do is what I poured my life into at this point. I started out as a violinist. I grew up in Honolulu, went to Manhattan School of Music, freelanced in New York, played in orchestras here, there, and thus. I met my husband in New Orleans Symphony. We taught at the University of Louisville and played in that orchestra. Returned to Honolulu, worked in Mexico for several years, ended up in Minneapolis, ended up here in Detroit, and I needed to teach. We needed benefits. So I started teaching in schools here, there, and everywhere, developed programs in 16 different schools before coming to Cornerstone. One thing led to another. I was teaching a wonderful program at Roper School, high school kids playing Schubert quartets. And I got this strange phone call from somebody who wanted to hire me for a job. And oh, by the way, did you know that such and such school was looking for a string teacher? Well, no, fine, thank you, goodbye. I'll play the job. I kept being approached by this. Somebody was determined and ongoing. So I went and talked to Ernestine Sanders. And as you have met her, the most compelling and convincing woman you've ever met in your life. And we talked about what could be. We talked about blank slates. We talked about pre-K through, at that point, middle school. What if we didn't just have a little fourth grade string program? What if every child in the school developed deeply music? And not just music, but music performance with all the package of that comes. What if we had a school that did that? That wasn't an art school, but was a school that thought this was part of the learning process. It wasn't something exclusive. We weren't doing arts. We were doing educating the whole child, using music as one of the most impacting vehicles for this. And she said, why not? People have often asked us here at Cornerstone what it is we're doing with this unique music program and why we do this and how we do this. Those are the biggest questions we're asked, why and how. The why part is that music, participating in music performance, builds a complete child in a way that very few other, if any, other environments can do. It builds a complete child and so a complete community, a complete family. The ripple effect is just huge. We have been blessed by watching our families grow as our children grow, as the doors of enclosure are opened wide, and people's lives are expanded experientially and socially, and musically, of course, in many, many different ways. 11 years ago, when I first came to Cornerstone, this is now our 12th year of this program, there was a piano lab and a recreational gospel choir program for everybody. I was able to inherit the blessing of a holistic concept of participation in music for every child in the school. That came with the school, which is an enormous step. A wonderfully visioned understanding of what education is from the people here. But it wasn't developmental. So we introduced immediately a structured early childhood program, including pre-K through second grade. We had a kind of a recorder program going, but it wasn't focused and it wasn't performance ready. And we began to teach our children all kinds of things about music by experiencing it in the early grades. We learned not just to sing little songs for Christmas time, but we learned about feeling music, feeling rhythms, feeling time signatures, learning pitches by singing scales. Oh my goodness, scales. But we didn't do do, re, mi. That's unbelievably boring. No, we did all kinds of things. Kids made up their own names, their own words for scales, their own using their names as scales. We sing a scale around the room using everybody's name, just a 5-note scale. That kind of thing. We would, by the time the kids would get to second grade and be introduced to recorders, they understood without knowing that they did. Pulses of 3, pulses of 6, pulses of 4. They understood loud and soft. They understood high and low. They understood slow and fast, happy and sad, the 10 things or more that music does. And by doing that in the early grades, not only were we expanding their very lives, and they would come home and sing these songs for their parents, and the parents say, "What a pretty song, I've never heard that before." Oh, what a joy for a kindergarten kid to go home and teach their mom a new song. Oh, that's huge.
2 little sausages frying in a pan. One went and the other went bam. 2 little sausages frying in a pan. One went and the other
Sort of the philosophical and psychological foundations of our program are that music is learned in a lot of the same ways that a language is learned. And one of the ways in which a language is learned is just through rich immersion in this extremely rich and dense language environment. And so we try to replicate that musically by singing in all sorts of tonalities and meters and by giving them as rich a music environment as we possibly can and letting them interact with it in whatever way they feel comfortable. Because with language, we don't try to force the children to correctness. We just let them kind of wallow in this language environment. And so they're kind of wallowing in this rich music environment. And when they're ready, they'll start speaking musically. They'll start singing in tune, they'll become beat competent, and they'll have something to say musically.
All right, who has a new pop pattern? I'm waiting for silent hands. Silent hands.
Play engages young children. So without just a formal instruction, they will be bored or they'll be just not into it, just not complete into the program. But play-based instruction is, it allows them to engage in it and interact with the teacher. So I think it's absolutely much better than a traditional instruction for young children, because I don't teach notation or I don't teach any formal theory to them, but they're so into the music. Their whole body is in the music. They're singing, their mind, their soul is, everything is in the music. So I think this is the best approach to young children.
The next year, we added fourth grade. We had to go step by step because we had to raise money step by step. The next year, we raised mixed strings for the fourth graders, and they chose between strings and choir. The fifth grade was the same. We kept adding every single year. We would add enough to get through that year and leaving the other ones coming up so that our third graders went to fourth grade. Our new third graders had violins, but they'd already seen them. They'd already knew that violins existed. And they would continue with a more developed, our wonderful Mr. Gardner, a more developed third grade program, and they started learning to read at that point. All through this building process, it was a continual looking out for ways to make it work and then implementing it, deciding that this is what we were going to do and finding some miraculous way to make it work. And year by year, step by step, into our middle school, where we introduced a 3-pronged program of strings, choir, and piano. And that's what we've done to this day. Without hitting anybody, turn that way, turn that way, turn that all the way around, come back and face me all the way around. And now, children, down on your knees. And back up again. Don't drop the butt. Bow. Bow. Yay. Jump up and down, but don't hit each other. Jump up and down. Any violence? And yay, yay. That's it. Attention, stand at attention, hands to your side. Now let's take our left hand and let's grab our shoulders. Yay me again.
Yay me.
Again. As much yay me as we can. Bring your hand out to the bottom. Make me beautiful stop sign. Thumb opposite first finger. And we go, hello, stop sign. Hello, fingers. Hello, fingers.
Whoa, stop sign.
Now bring your hand up and back and up. And children began very quickly. Our 3rd graders, for the first time they had their violins. We didn't let them open the case even until October. Our children, the first time they opened their violin cases, they took the violins in their hand and they learned about all this. They couldn't touch it before. And they're saying, please can we take our violins home and cuddle them in bed? Can I take my violin to bed instead of my teddy bear? And we went very shortly after that to Detroit Symphony concert. Oh, please, say these 3rd graders who have held a violin 3 times in their lives and have played now all the open strings. We'll take our instruments along so we can help out just in case. And we said, bingo, we've got something here. This is done for the children and for the families. It's like dropping a pebble in a pool, of course, a ripple effect. The families grow, the people grow, the kids grow. The school is enhanced by children who are learning to think independently, to think out of the box, to think about things that are new to them, that new is not bad or hard, it is just new and something to be explored, not something to be ignored. And that perhaps is one of the major accomplishments that music can offer, is the opening of doors and experiences and the decision and the understanding that opening these doors is not unusual. It's normal, and it's what we do. And let's just do that all the time. Open a new door. Because if you have an open door to something, one kind of thing, you're going to have open doors all over. How can I keep from singing? What's the tempest round me roars? I know the truth is in there. Because of the darkness round me close.
Music is food to the soul. Music is food to the soul. That's very important to me, because with the music that they listen to at home, it may not always be the most wholesome music, or the music that they are listening to in their neighborhoods. It may not be wholesome music. It may not be food that's going to nourish them. And so what I've been able to do is to help them understand is that what you put inside is going to affect you. It's going to affect you for the rest of your life.
The teachers are very supportive. They're very supportive. So even if a student is a little nervous, a little anxiety there, or sometimes even parents may have a little bit of anxiety, once they get into the program, they're so excited. They're really glad that they did it, because really a lot of it is just the confidence building. They build their confidence. They have a stage presence. They're proud of what they're doing. They're learning a skill, and they're really learning a skill that they're going to have for life.
And I think these kids will go out now from this program at Cornerstone and give back to their community. They'll be part of the rebuilding of the community of Detroit. They'll be musically and artistically adept. They'll want to have artistic outlets. Hopefully they'll contribute to the entrepreneurial spirit that I know the city is trying to rebuild.
The impact this has on our inner city youth especially is a step outside. It is open doors for these kids in many ways. We know that education is the open door for everyone. We know that education is what's going to save our inner city youth. We know that. Well, the biggest thing that I found that music has taught our children, especially performance, is the understanding of the nature of work, the understanding of the rewards of work, and that work gets them places they couldn't go otherwise. That is, by work I mean studying and practicing, oh my gosh, and looking at something new and applying yourself to something that's very difficult and very new for a very specific goal. Applause. Applause is a wonderful reward.
We say that we really want our students to know about economics, we want them to know about finance, and we also want them to have an appreciation of the arts. Because I think that to educate without an appreciation of the arts, then you don't really see your world. You don't see how you can be transformative to be able to create in that way.
Collaboratives with various organizations. Michigan State University is very hands-on involved in our school. University of Michigan has shared professors with us who come on a regular basis to expose music and their own fantastic abilities with our children, and to reach down to our children who are obviously not playing the Lalo Cello Concerto or something like that, but they are looking at somebody who was a great big tall African American who was playing this kind of music and then turns around and plays a rap for them on the cello while he's talking. That everything is open and fresh and bright and accessible. And that where these guys are doing this, they can do this. And they will take his great, big, huge, and very expensive cello. This is our very good friend Anthony Elliott from the University of Michigan. There's no door that he will not open for these children. Come see what a beautiful cello looks like and sounds like. Come see what singing this kind of music can do, and you can sing this too. Again, I come back to the same concept of open doors, open lives, open minds, and work that accomplishes something that makes you excited, that blesses you, that builds you as a person. And if you're being built as a person, then the people around you are being built. That is the kind of impact that a serious music program will have on an entire community.
But for those students, who may be struggling with their academics, do you think that the arts program supports them or helps to get them along in any way?
Yeah, I can say it a little differently. That I know it does. As I said to you before we started the camera rolling, my previous life I was an actor. I was a card-carrying union actor. I had both membership in SAG and equity, SAG for film and equity for stage. So I know what it did for me. I was not an academic person at all in my earlier years. It just didn't interest me after grade school, not through high school at all. The only time I was interested in anything in high school was when I was on stage or playing with the band. But I know how much it really just developed in me later on in college years and in life, how much it just opened me up to learning so much more. So I know that the program here, which is really pretty intense, pretty successful program in the arts, is going to just do magnificent things for these children as they mature and as they grow academically. It's going to help them immensely.
11 years ago, this wasn't here. In our 12th year, we've been able to, through the blessing of individual and corporate donors, because Cornerstone does not have public school standing. Cornerstone is supported entirely by donors. And they're watching these kids grow, and they're watching what happens. And they think, well, if they're doing this and their test scores in math are suddenly stronger, why, this has to be a good thing. And so we're able to build on what the children are learning. The children are their own building blocks. What an exciting thing that is.
I play viola, but I started off first with violin, but I didn't like the E string, so I switched to viola because I just love viola now.
So you prefer the cello over violin?
I did at the time because, back then it was because the cellos always got to sit down when they play and the violin stood up, and I didn't like to stand for long periods of time. But as I matured and got older over the years, I liked the sound of the cello and the body and shape of it and everything. I like singing more than I do with cello. And to me, I love both, but singing, I have a lot more fun doing it, because with cello, you have to sit there the whole time, can't move that much. With singing, you can really express the song on your face and with you can hand gestures and things.
It's fun. It's a lot of early mornings and like lunch rehearsals though, but it's okay.
Is this something that you want to do as part of your career?
I would probably be interested in maybe like playing in a sides throughout college life and like maybe minoring in like music education possibly. But I don't think I would ever make a career out of it, like just like ultimately, because I would be kind of scared if I break my fingers or something like that. But I see myself playing for like the rest of my life.
I want to become an attorney, but viola is pretty much my life right now. And I want to go to a performing arts school, such as DSA or so. So I think I might want to play viola into high school.
So I have thought about going into medical or musical. My musical degree, playing all around the world. I love to play this instrument. As I said before, it's like it helps me get into my happy place. When I get mad, it's there for me. It'll never leave.
So what would school be like if the music program just disappeared?
Horrible.
It would be really boring. We wouldn't have anything to really look forward to. But they have other fun programs, but this one really makes it fun to go here, and I would miss it.
The school would probably be a lot duller, very, very dull.
Music is something that I get to express myself in than any other subject in Cornerstone. So without viola, it would be kind of terrible.
It would probably be very, very different. I would probably have more problems than I do now.
Excuse my French, but school would be a living hell for me if I didn't have the music.
What we want to do next, where we want to go from this. We've reached this point. We've had the Shanghai Quartet. We've had the American Quartet. We've had Tony Elliott come, Anthony L. from University of Michigan. We've had members of the Detroit Symphony come and work and teach with our children. We've had amazing, amazing blessings to sustain and grow the program, besides just what we're able to do here. And a complete understanding on the part of most of our parents, and certainly on the part of our administration and teachers, of what this means for them. It makes their jobs better. What we want to do now is to reach deeper into our own community and participate with other fine school programs and be able to develop a whole culture in Detroit of success and wide open spaces and unity in that success, unity in building our children. So that we're not all isolated, we're not all working terribly hard on our own, but let's all unite it and bring it and show the world, frankly, that Detroit, in spite of the press and in spite of the terrific challenges we're facing, we're solving those challenges with our future, with our very future, with our children. And bringing hope and light in a vehicle that people probably wouldn't have thought would be the solution for Detroit. But we know the solution for Detroit and for America and for the world is our children.